Thanks for joining us on News 12. I'm Matt Sampson. Well, a very difficult subject now, putting an end to cyberbullying. It's an effort that's taking center stage in the Hudson Valley as State Senator Jeff Klein and Miss New York State are meeting with students, 3 local schools today in Pelham and Mount Vernon. This effort is in the spotlight again after last week's suicide by 14-year-old Ira Magruyup. You see her right there, a 9th grader at the all-girls Catholic Ursuline School in New Rochelle. Ira was found dead in her home in Yonkers. There's now an investigation because many who knew her say cyberbullying may have pushed her over the edge. Joining us to talk about what cyberbullying really is and how kids may or may not understand this, Dr. Jennifer Powell-Lunder, psychologist, parenting expert in our newsroom there. Let's start by actually defining cyberbullying.
Sure. Well, the definition of cyberbullying is really not so easy to define, actually. When we talk about bullying, what we're talking about is a malicious act, an act with malicious intent. So when we talk about cyberbullying, what we're talking about is things over the internet that have malicious content and affect people. The difficulty is, however, if you talk to kids, and I've interviewed many kids and I've said to them, you know, do you know what cyberbullying is? And they tell me yes. And then I ask them, have you ever cyberbullied? And they say to me, no. So really what it has to be clarified is what's the definition from whose point of view? Is it the person who's being bullied, or is it the person who is actually doing the bullying? And really the way we look at it out there is the person who's receiving the bullying, because sometimes it starts off with something that I call cyber banter. So that's really going back and forth, texting maybe, social networking on Facebook, joking around. You know, it starts off really as a joke. And then, unfortunately, it can morph into something that the person receiving might not take so much as a joke. So really, when we're defining it, we have to clarify to kids that it's about what they're putting up there, how the person who's receiving what they're saying takes it. And if the person's taking it as criticism or as feeling as if they've been bullied, then that's really what matters.
Well, let me say, a year ago now, Monroe Woodbury High School student Cameron Jacobson was cyberbullied, at least from his point of view, his parents' point of view, into suicide. But for other parents, what should we be watching for in advance of this? What can we see? What can we catch to try to derail this?
This is a great question. So what you need to be doing as parents is monitoring what your kids are texting, what your kids are looking at, and also what they're sending on social networking sites. So if you see something that sounds like it could be interpreted as malicious, it's very important to let your kids know that that's the perspective, because you see, kids are egocentric by nature, so they might not realize, because they're not using perspective taking, that what they're saying or sending to their friends is considered malicious. Now, it goes without saying that there are occasions where kids are aware that the intent, that they do have malicious intent. But I have to tell you that my experience is, in speaking with so many kids, more often than not, they're just not aware. So as parents, we also need to be talking to our kids about this and explain to them ahead of time how a joke can often be taken seriously, especially if the person receiving it is in a vulnerable situation. I mean, something as little as having a really bad day at school, and then you read something that your friend wrote that's not the nicest thing, can really affect you. Because kids are definitely vulnerable in general. Feelings get hurt.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Jennifer Powell-Lunder, talking about cyberbullying. And folks, you can head over to our website, news12.com, for more information about this, also about suicide prevention. Doctor, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, meteorologist Joe Rayo, let's talk a little bit about what's going on here. I'm getting lost in my cameras here. Joe, what can you tell us that the people can keep with them for what's coming up?
I have